Well, thank you for joining me on exercise 6E. I'm looking at question 2, part E, and this is to complete the following table. And we've got sine of theta, it's blank. Cos of theta, we've got negative root 2 over 2. Tan of theta, we've got negative 1, and theta we don't know. Okay, very similar to the last question. If you did the last question, you would possibly already have a fair idea of how this is going to go. But before I start, I like to tell you what my tools are. I like the CAST rule, C-A-S-T, which means in quadrant 1, they're all positive. In quadrant 2, only sine is positive. In quadrant 3, only tan is positive. In quadrant 4, only cos is positive. The second rule I like to use is finding the acute angle theta. We come off the x-axis. So if it's in the second quadrant, we use 180 minus theta. If it's in the third quadrant, we use 180 plus theta. If it's in the fourth quadrant, we use 360 minus theta, or we use negative theta if it's a negative. And for radians, we would use pi, not 180 for degrees. Pi radians in the third quadrant plus theta, and 2 pi minus theta if it's the fourth quadrant radians. The third tool I like to use is the 2 by 2 by 2 equilateral triangle. 2 by 2 by 2. So there's 60 degrees, or pi over 3, pi over 3. And the square. The 1 by 1 by 1 square and the diagonal. That would give us 45 degrees or pi over 4 radians. And for the triangle, I split it up into 2 parts, so we get a 30 degrees up here, or a pi over 6. And then we've got a 1 and a 1. And the sides missing is this side here, which is root 3 and root 2. If you don't know why it's root 3 and root 2, and this is the first time you've seen this on my explanations, or you've seen it in classroom, Pythagoras' theorem says that a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and our c is 2, the hypotenuse is 2. So 1 plus b squared equals 4. So b squared equals 3. That's why b is root 3. That's why that side is root 3. And over in the square, 1 squared plus 1 squared equals c squared. 2 equals c squared. That's why c is root 2. Okay, they're the tools. Let's start. Okay. Looking at the question, you see that cos is negative. Tan is negative. There's only one quadrant where both cos is negative and tan is negative, and that's where sine is positive. So we already know it's a quadrant 2 angle. So this angle here has to be a quadrant 2 angle, and so I will highlight we're dealing with these angles here. So which are we dealing with? Are we dealing with 60, 30, or 45? Now you see a root 2, and the only place you can recall a root 2 is in this square, which is a 45 degree angle. So we know we're dealing with a 45 degree angle. Well, if it's 45 degrees and it's degrees, then you would say that 180 minus 45 degrees would be 135 degrees. Or if it's radians, you would say pi minus pi over 4 is 3 pi over 4. And that's the angle. Let's write 3 pi over 4. Let's stick with radians here. Well, we're in the second quadrant. It is a 45 degree angle. And so we can look for sine of theta just by knowing that it is sine of our 3 pi over 4 is going to still equal sine of pi over 4 because it's a positive, because it's quadrant 2. Only sine is positive. So sine of pi over 4 is opposite over hypotenuse, 1 over root 2. Now we could answer it like we've got cos, multiply top and bottom by root 2, you get root 2 over 2. So here I will write root 2 over 2. Notice it's positive, I won't need to put it, but I'll put a plus sign here. You just leave the plus sign out of the answer. And that's it. Before I finish, let me just wrap up and say I used the first tool to see a negative cos and a negative tan means the second quadrant. So our sign will be positive, right? So you know that's going to be a positive answer. I saw the root 2 and figured, all right, it is a square. It is the 45-degree angle. And so our acute angle has to be pi over 4. And in the second quadrant, the acute angle is pi minus pi over 4, which is 3 pi over 4. And then we find sine of 3 pi over 4. Sine of 45 degrees in our triangle, in our square, opposite over hypotenuse, 1 over root 2, or root 2 over 2, and positive because it's quadrant 2. I hope this has helped. Until next time, stay happy.